Hello, 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 welcome back to my channel. I'm Samantha Winona. This is Winona Reads. Okay, so it is March 1st and we have a lot going on this weekend. It's my husband's birthday on Friday. We have parent-teacher conferences. Last week the kids had no school. The weeks have been chaotic. So I'm going to try and do this February wrap-up right now. I read 14 books in February, and so here's the wrap-up. So the first one I finished was a memoir called Drinking Games by Sarah Levy, and I had picked it up from the library. It was like a 14-day rental, and I liked the cover. I was interested about the whole sobriety aspect of it, so I rated it 3.5 stars. It was about, obviously, Sarah, who, you know, growing up, I think thing to do is to, you know, fit into, for some reason, a culture now of like having drinks with friends. And then she kind of dove in a little bit to the idea of realizing that she had a problem, that it wasn't just drinks with friends. She was going out every single night, she was blacking out, she was getting hurt. So it wasn't just that typical, you know, party and then it fizzles out the older that you get. There was obviously an outstanding issue, and so it was different chapters about her life and her relationship with alcohol, and now, you know, that she has a centered self and she is more aware without, you know, the hindrance of alcohol. Towards the end, it was sort of like her realizing, you know, the important things, and things that, like, you don't need alcohol to fit in, you don't need alcohol to go to events and do all of these things. And it is starting to become, you know, I don't know, what is the opposite of social norm? Like, the social norm now is, even as adults, to still, you know, have that glass of wine or go out for happy hour and do all of these things. And so it's the aspect of being kind of an outsider in that sense. But I do feel like there are more and more, especially celebrities, but more and more people who are actually fully committing to sobriety. And I think that's what intrigued me. I know the book on Goodreads is a little bit controversial, but I think as far as being vulnerable, writing about something that, you know, I think when you're admitting a problem within yourself, that is something very hard to do. That is more than sharing your thoughts and feelings. I think one part she said, like, it felt like admitting failure. Like, I can't drink normally the way others do. So that aspect of, you know, writing a book and having other people read it, and hopefully some people relate and get help or have been there in that situation and have already gotten help. I think it's a very amazing thing to put on paper, your experience, but it is unfortunate that sometimes it'll be critiqued by others in the aspect of, like, the writing sense and the authoritative sense. Okay. May not work as I want to, but I'm gonna continue through. The next two were graphic novels, Sheets #1 and #2, which is called Delicates by Brenna Thumler. They are, what I'm looking for, graphic novels, sorry. They're graphic novels. I think I rated them both 4 stars. They were good. I mean, I feel like there's never much to say about graphic novels. It was definitely a different, like, approach, I would say, to the young adult. Like, it wasn't bright colors and, like, acutely impactful. It was sort of like hidden, which was interesting. Yeah, it was a different take than what I'm used to, I guess I would say. A girl named Marjorie, she loses her mom at a young age. She has a younger brother. I really hope this is focused, because otherwise this is gonna bother me. She has a younger brother that she takes care of. Her dad, since her mom passed away, is kind of lost in himself. So she runs the family business at the laundromat while going to school, while taking care of her brother. And so the first one is sort of her finding her voice And the second one takes it a step further in her friendship aspects, in her relationship with her dad. So it was definitely a powerful, you know, powerful graphic novels. I just feel like the muted color scheme and like the muted graphics were kind of, I don't know if it was like an easier approach or trying to make the subject matter easier, but I still loved it. And I think they're like have some sort of like award. I don't know if it's on Goodreads or something like that, but I think the first one has some sort of award. The next one after that I read was The Heart and Other Monsters by Rose Anderson, and as you can tell, I loved it. I rated it 4.5. And I did write a little synopsis on my Goodreads. You're not going to be able to see that. It's not going to focus. But I wrote solid 4 stars. Writing is a little immature, but I think that's what I love about it. Very honest, basic, to the point, with hints of poetic verse and parts that literally make my stomach twist/turn sour. So this was about Rose. Her sister is found dead in a home. I don't remember if it's her home or one of her friends. She has an addiction problem, and Rose goes into like, not how it started, because it's not about Rose, it's about her sister, but it's about her relationship with her sister over the years and how she herself was, you know, the outsider looking into the, you know, issues at hand. And I found it very interesting. I think the writing was a little bit immature in the sense that it was just very cut to the point, but that's what I liked about it. I liked, you know, at times it didn't feel like a memoir. It felt like just a story, which is, I think, very good writing. The subject matter itself is obviously very dark, and there were times of, you know, the family considering the possibility that it wasn't an overdose, it was something more than that. And I don't want to give away any spoilers, but there were definitely parts where I think her writing was very important and poetic. In sometimes she would talk about from her sister's point of view, and those were the times that I felt like my, you know, stomach turned, because I think for some of it she was spot on. I don't know, I just think that's good writing, and I loved it. I enjoyed it. It was a fast read. The next one after that, this is not, I'm not gonna get through this fast enough. I know this. I don't know why I do this to myself. The next one I listened to is The Light We Carry, Overcoming Uncertain Times by Michelle Obama. That was an audiobook. I listened to it every time I got on the treadmill, and amazing. Another 4 stars. She is so wise with her words and very intentional with her words, and nothing felt like over flourished, or I don't know, she's very simple, but her words are just so impactful. And I loved her first book. This one I think I loved even more, because it did go into more of her family and motherhood, and, you know, womanhood. And she is definitely someone that I look up to as a human being, like politics aside. I think her and what she stands for, I'm here for it, and I will read anything she writes. I do agree that her mom should write a book, because some of like the advice and some of the stuff about like womanhood and motherhood and relationships, I was like, oh, if that's her hand-me-down from it, like I want to know from the lady herself. So I wish her mom would write something as well. But I thought it was very well done. I love her writing, and I do think in the sense of an audiobook, having her narrate it, I think it's well worth it. The next one after that was Trick Mirror, Reflections on Self-Delusion by Gia Tolentino. Can you tell? Can you tell? I loved it. I loved it. 5 stars. 5 stars for the month. I will recommend this to anyone. There are so many important things. This dives in from our relationship with technology to women's place in, you know, everything. Culture, society, finance, relationships, what relationships even mean nowadays. I just feel like you do hear the stuff in the book. I do feel like the topics she picked are things that are well talked about and well versed or conversed with other people, but I think her way of writing it was so good. I would read anything that she writes, and that's it. I was truly impressed, and now I know why it's, you know, a bestseller for the book review. Again, I will recommend it. It is so good, so good. After that was another good one, Tomorrow, Tomorrow, Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. This, I want to say I rated 4.5 stars. This is sort of another controversial one for some reason. I loved it. I love her writing. It's super inviting. Once you're in, you're hooked. Like 20 pages in, I was like, I need to finish this. Like, it was just off the bat, it was super good. This was about Sadie and Sam and their relationship over the years. There's, you know, struggle in their relationship. There's good times, there's bad times, times where they don't talk. And I think a lot of people had a problem with Sadie as a character, but I think that's intentional. You're not supposed to always like or respond well to how she, like, her life events. Like, it's not gonna always go the way that you want them to as a reader, and or even how she would want them to go. But I think that was the purpose of it. And the piece of it that really hit home for me was the point of view from Marks during the sad moments, if you know what I mean. I think the only reason I didn't do a full 5 stars, I don't know how to put it into words. I think everything was well enough developed in the storyline. I think a lot happens, even though some people say nothing happens. I'm here for the storyline. I like the characters. I like the dynamic. I haven't ever read anything about gaming before. I think the, you know, linear, like the different generations and the different time periods and how things change was very interesting. So I was here for it. I loved it. I'll recommend it. After that, I listened to the audiobook of Wrong Place, Wrong Time by Gillian McAllister. Is it Gillian or Jillian? I rated that 4 stars. That's on Reese's book club, one of her book club picks, and I thought it was very well done. So you find out what happens right away. Her son kills somebody, and that's not really a spoiler, I wouldn't say, because it happens like in the first couple pages. So yeah, that's not a spoiler because sorry, because there's so much more to it than that. So there's a specific date, her son kills somebody, and then she keeps traveling back in time to figure out the relationship, the connections. She finds out more people that she knows are involved. It's a whole thing, and I just loved how it was like a pinpoint, and then it like deconstructed backwards, if that makes sense. I liked it. I thought it was, and you know what? Audiobook is pretty hard to follow when it comes to thrillers like that, and so the fact that I was able to still follow it through audiobook, I was impressed, honestly, because a lot does happen. The next one I read was TFM Poetry by Eliza Grace. This was a Kindle Unlimited, and I rated that 2.5 stars. That one, and then She Was the Storm by Sherry Everett, I also rated 2 stars. I'm having a hard time with poetry lately, and this is gonna sound silly, but I think Ocean Vuong, I think he just, anything I read after, it just doesn't like hold up. I don't know what it is, but my issues with these are just the phase that we're in, I feel like, with Kindle Unlimited poetry collections. They are fillers, but no substance. It's like I don't read something and I'm like, wow, that's moving. I read it and I'm like, okay, Instagram quote, next one. And I flip through it in 2 seconds. Like, it's not, there's nothing that makes me think for a second or gives me a picture in my head or honestly makes me even feel anything, which I think is why I get so frustrated with them. So I put them as I liked them. I don't think I would recommend, or I'll even remember them, you know, months down the line, which is unfortunate. But they were, you know, morning reads when I'm sipping my coffee. And did I hate them? No. But do I think that they're a little forgettable and a little like the new standard of poetry, or modern poetry, contemporary poetry? I think they're starting to become all very similar. So that was my thought on that. Then I listened to 2 Mindy Kaling short story collections, or short stories, on Audible. So I listened to Help Is on the Way and Please Like Me. I love her personality. I love her writing. I think it's so funny that she claims she like doesn't have a lot of friends, because I would be her friend in a heartbeat. I think she's such a good writer, like screenplays, books, like short stories. I just find her so compelling and authentic, and like without having to try that hard, and that's what I love about her. And I just think she's genuine, and it comes out in her voice when she narrates it, but it comes out in just like the story and how, like, I don't know, it's like, here's a funny thing that happened, is this relatable? Or like, this is just what happened. Like, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but I downloaded more so that I can listen to some other ones later. But yeah, it's super cute. And I have read her other, I think they're memoirs or short stories as well. I have read her other stuff, and I like those as well. And then the last one that I finished last night was Swim by Emily Burns. I gave this 3 stars and highlighted a couple of different sections. It was different in the sense that I don't know that much about certain mental struggles. I don't know what the word, it's not disabilities. Is OCD a disability? What do I want to say? Mental health issues. I believe it's mental health issues, OCD. This is what I mean. I'm completely unaware of that aspect. I only know anxiety. I only know panic attacks. I only know, you know, negative thoughts. But it was interesting to see the perspective on that angle. That's something that I've never read before. There were some lyrical parts that did pull my attention. I did highlight a couple of one-liners. Some of them I thought were impactful to an extent of me wanting to write it down. It did somewhat play into, you know, the same cookie cutter kind of contemporary poetry, but not all of it. And that's why I rated it a little bit higher. So yeah, that was a nice quiet way to wrap up the February month. And I am almost done with, I'm so proud of myself right now. So I started Stone Cold Fox Sunday I think, to get a head start for the book club, because it's the first book club pick. I only have like 100 pages left, and I'm so invested in it. I love it. It's a debut. Well done to Rachel Kohler-Croft. I love it so far. I will give you my thoughts in the video at the end of the month for the book club. But I will be posting more discussion questions. I have a couple on my Instagram, so follow me at Winona Reads. I do have a couple of discussion questions on there. I will post more and do a, you know, wrap up and discussion on here as well once I get to the second book club pick. But I am just, it's March 1st, and I just am feeling like it's a good start. So I hope it continues, and I hope the other ones don't have me feeling stuck, because I genuinely feel like Swan Song just really left me stuck, and it was super unfortunate. But yeah, let me see, what were my reading? I know Trick Mirror was one of my readings for my jar from my shelf. Swan Song was the second one, right? And then I think the Hazel Gaynor one was the third one, the Girl from Savoy, and that I could not get into either. I feel like I already mentioned that in the last wrap up though. I still have Swan Song over on my end table. I will get to it, I promise. But yeah, so I am I have a couple of audiobooks saved. I have the rest of Stone Cold Fox. I still have Sick Kids downstairs that I need to get to. So I will be back soon with another video. I hope you have a good start to the month and keep reading, and I will see you soon. Bye.